there's really, Jane, do you have a copy of the agenda?
Yeah, I have everything, Holly, yeah.
Ability to see everything, so I'll just, if there's really, Jane, do you have a copy? Okay. Okay, so I think we're okay if you want to get started, Jane.
Okay, thanks, Holly. This is the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin Emergency Services Committee meeting of June 17th, 2020, beginning at 9:10 due to technical difficulties. I will do roll call just to ensure we have everyone that we should have online. Councillor Collins?
You're muted.
Present.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Florent?
I'm here.
Councillor Harper?
Present.
Councillor Bongo?
I'm here.
Councillor Shala?
Present.
Councillor Vermeer?
Here.
CAO Clerk Treasurer Holly Hayes?
Here.
Deputy Clerk Carla Gatley?
Carla doesn't have audio.
Okay, fine. And South Algonquin Fire Chief Don Kruger?
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, everyone. So I'm opening and calling the meeting to order at, well, I did that at 9:10. And we have our agenda ahead before us. Are there any additions or agenda to the, are there any additions or amendments to the agenda? Hearing none, could someone move to accept the agenda?
I'll move.
Thank you. Councillor Harper moves, seconded.
I'll move it.
Councillor Shala, thank you. With the business before us this morning, does any member of council wish to disclose a pecuniary interest? None noted. Is there any unfinished business from the previous meeting? None noted. Thank you. We're into new business, and we will begin the meeting this morning with the staff report from Fire Chief Don Kruger regarding the progress that has been made during the COVID-19 period that just coincided with his employment with South Algonquin. So Don, I would hand that over to you.
Okay, so yeah, as mentioned, shortly after I started, the pandemic hit. So unfortunately, we had to put training on hold for a period of a couple of months. We have since restarted training. We just this month started doing hands-on practical training again. So during the period of the lockdown, I worked on creating lesson plans for the training. And I also worked on revising standard operating guidelines for the fire department. I've worked on, I think, about 3 dozen different standard operating guidelines for the fire department, and I've begun the process of presenting the revised SOGs to the firefighters. We've also worked on starting to get an idea as to equipment, what equipment we have, how old it is, what needs to be replaced or repaired. And what else did I have in there? Oh, and I also started the process of obtaining IFSTA manuals for all the firefighters. For those that wish to pursue certification, they will need the IFSTA manual to pursue that. That provides all the theory portion for the firefighter curriculum. And I think that's about it for now.
Are there any questions in regards to the report from Fire Chief Kruger from any members of council?
Just one thing, Don, those IFSTA manuals, do they go out of date or are they just reprints, or do they actually print new ones?
So they do reprint them every year or every other year. As to whether they go out of date, no. Basically what happens is every now and again they may take stuff out of them. So for example, the editions that were just purchased were the 7th edition. The 6th edition came out, I believe it was 2, maybe 3 years ago. So they're good for a period of time, but they don't really go out of date because the information doesn't change. What happens is perhaps a training tactic or certain tactics are found to be not quite as good as what they could be. So they update it, but the information basically remains the same. If you were to compare the IFS to 7 manual with the IFS to 5 manual, the IFS to 7 manual is actually thinner because they've just taken some information out of it.
Okay, I was just wondering, because I have one that I can't remember which number it is, but it's likely 3 or 4. It's pretty old.
Yeah. Yeah,
That would go-
so your 3rd edition may be a little bit thicker than the 7th, or it may be a little bit thinner. I'm not sure. I actually have I have a 3 and a 5 at home myself. But they don't change much from year to year.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments on the report that we received? Well, I would just like to say it's very comprehensive, and you obviously have been spending your time very, very diligently. So thank you, Don. That certainly gives us a good sense of where the fire department is at this point in time, and the priorities that you have established to move forward with our fire department.
Thank you.
All right.
So I can just interject here for a second. So when we did the agenda, we had anticipated that there would just be one staff report. And as you guys saw, there were 2. It was essentially that we couldn't really figure out a way to make one staff report with the 2 items and make it make sense. So we split it up. So although the agenda doesn't reflect it, there is a second discussion that we need to have, and that's about the purchasing of the vehicles. So if you want to just make sure that we're finished talking about that first staff report, and Dawn and I will, as we go forward, iron out the bugs of the staff reports and how this works. So, but we do need to talk about that one as well.
Okay. So I asked for questions, the last call for questions on the first report. So we'll go to the second report, which is regarding vehicles and apparatus. So Dawn, if you wanted to go through that one as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So this, the second report was just about the purchase of what was referred to in the budget as the chief truck. I prefer to refer to it as car 1 because it's not just going to be a chief truck. My goal is to have it stationed at the Whitney station for use for the firefighters there to use to respond to calls when needed, replacing the old rescue that currently sits there. My recommendation is to have the old rescue declared surplus and auctioned off, I guess, or however you typically dispose of surplus vehicles. And then the new car 1 would be stationed at the Whitney station for the firefighters to use to respond to calls when I'm not using it, which obviously only working part-time would be most of the time. And that's the basic gist of the report, just to declare I believe it's truck number 502 as surplus, and have the new car 1 stationed at the Whitney station to replace it.
Okay. Any questions or comments or discussion in regards to this?
I have a lot. Joe?
I do too, Sandra. Go
Okay,
ahead,
so
Joe.
Can I
Joe,
go ahead?
Yes, Joe, please.
Okay, the pickup that was in the budget was slated for the Madawaska Hall. And I am not opposed to declaring 502 surplus. I think its days are well behind it. And I do agree that there should be a vehicle in Whitney, just maybe not the one that's in the budget. But I also seen Don's recommendation that there be one purchased for Madawaska, not necessarily in this budget year, to replace that cube van, which I really don't understand how the cube van ever got to Madawaska in the first place, because it's pretty well strictly paved highway truck, which doesn't serve the purpose for what we need at all. So the reason that pickup was for Madawaska was because $50,000 of the purchase price of our old fire hall in Madawaska was put in reserve for the equipment. That fire hall was bought and paid for strictly by volunteers before the days of the service board, before the days of the Township of South Algonquin. So it would really be a sore point if that money was used to purchase a vehicle in Whitney. But I know it's only optics. When you have the vehicle here, nobody knows where the money came from. And it would be my suggestion that we buy 2 pickups at this time, and definitely the 3/4 ton in Madawaska, as Don recommended, which would be a 250 or a 2500 series truck, depending on who you buy it from. And I probably think that we should be buying a 3/4 ton truck for Whitney as well. I think it would serve the purpose better, because it's going to be a dual purpose. Not only is it going to be the chief's truck, it's going to be in the service for the fire personnel at all. And even if you only put 6 firefighters in a truck, you're probably overweight with a 1/2 ton truck, where with 3/4 ton the weight limit is a bit better, and you can carry actually a few supplies and everything in the back of it at the same time. So that would be my suggestion, that we go ahead with the purchase of the one, although I would recommend that it also be a 3/4 ton truck. And at the same time, we either go to reserve, or even if we tendered and ordered the truck now, we probably wouldn't get it until the 2021 calendar year, because we're right at the end of the production line right now. If there's not anything available at a dealer's, it'll be 3 or 4 months before one is even made. And it would be a 2021 model year. I think that's about it for me for now, anyway.
Thank you, Councillor Florent. Councillor Collins?
I sort of are of the same vein as what Councillor Florent was saying. And I do believe that the vehicle that has been missing from Madawaska over the last virtually 2 years should be the first one to be replaced. That was taken away 18 months to 2 years ago, and they've been without that vehicle, without anything for sort of brush fires and carting all that equipment around. And I think that one should be the primary vehicle to be replaced, with the other one coming along secondary, if we can't do the 2 together. That's my thoughts on it. And I'm sorry, Don, to say this. Yes, I think you ought to have a vehicle eventually, but in the interim, to use your own vehicle and claim mileage would be some sort of different way of approaching things, until if we can't get both vehicles at once. But my honest opinion is we should be replacing the vehicle that has been removed for over 18 months, 2 years first. That's my thoughts.
Thank you very much. I'd like to note the last line in the report that was presented in regards to this that the consultations with District Chief Stubbs, District Chief Tom, Training Officer Ian Collins, and Holly and Dawn have had input into this. So I thank you for your comments. And Dawn, I go back to you in regards to these comments. You have reviewed, you are the fire chief, you have reviewed the vehicles within the township, and have these comments in any way changed your opinion on what you feel, how we should go forward?
Thank you, Your Worship. Honestly, no. So the truck that we have currently tendered would replace that rescue at Whitney, and it would be perfectly suited for that job. Right now, that truck in Whitney has very little equipment on it. So it is being used almost strictly to transport firefighters to and from a scene. The new truck that we just tendered would accomplish that goal and would still be able to carry some equipment. as far as the issue at the Madawaska station, if we were to put out a second tender as soon as possible, that truck, as Councillor Florent alluded to, would need to be a heavier truck in order to carry all the bush and grass firefighting equipment. And we would also have it a super cab or super crew truck so that it could also carry firefighters. Councillor Florent was also correct that the cube van is strictly a road vehicle. And although it is carrying all of their bush equipment right now, it can't leave a roadway in order to actually go to a fire scene that's even 100 meters or so off the road. So it certainly would need to be a four-wheel drive heavy duty pickup truck. I'm not aware of the vehicle that went missing from Madawaska. Obviously that was before my time. But I mean, right now they've got 4 vehicles in their 4 bays, and Whitney's got 4 vehicles in 3 bays. So I need to be strategic about how we replace and rearrange apparatus. So in the case of the way I have it planned out in the immediate future, we're replacing a vehicle for a vehicle without leaving either station shorthanded.
Well, I disagree that I think Madawaska base is shorthanded right now, because that cube van is all it really is a storage spot. You could build a closet and do the same thing.
I can't. Sorry, go ahead, Councillor Harper.
No, it was me. I just wanted to mention that was Councillor Florent that was speaking. So go ahead, Chief.
Okay. Yes and no. I mean, right now, Madawaska in reality has 2 trucks that sit there and don't move very often. In this case, I'm taking the cheaper option to replace the 1 truck and still allow it to be used the way it's intended to be used.
Okay. Any other comments?
It's just, when we budgeted for that truck, that was not the intention of what's being proposed.
And you're saying that the chief's evaluation is not correct?
Well, the chief doesn't know the history.
Well,
He wasn't around when we did it for that truck. He doesn't know the history of the community and where the funds came from. There's a lot of things he's not aware of. But again, I'll still say it again. If we buy 2 trucks, solves the whole problem.
and that's contained within the report, that option. And I think history is important, Joe, but I think the fact that we have a current chief who is knows where this township should be going with fire protection and suppression, I think we have to respect the knowledge of the chief and appreciate the time and efforts that he's put into making the recommendations. So any other comments from anyone?
I do that.
Go ahead, Joe.
Just the optics are terrible, and I'm just going to leave it like that.
All right, thank you, Councillor Florent. Holly?
I just wanted to say, so I think the first thing is we didn't take their truck out of service. They parked it outside and we eventually sold it. So I just want to be clear on that we did not take a truck away from them. We have been talking about this new truck for a very long time, almost since I got here. There was discussion. We were very close to purchasing one last year, and then we said, you know what, we're going to restructure, we're going to change, we're going to hire a chief. It's probably not going to make sense to purchase a truck and let it sit in Madawaska. So we did say when we pushed it off last year that we would wait until there was a chief here who could make this kind of decision. I think further to that, we need to be clear about what it is that both departments need, and we need to make decisions. Like, you know, we have a cube van, we have equipment that has been handed down or handed sideways or whatever. I think we need to, as a council, decide what it is that they really need and start working towards that, instead of, you know, knee-jerk reaction purchasing things because it's in the best interest or because it's the best image. Like, what do we really need for a truck, and let's purchase that. I think that was part of the stalling last year. We were going to buy a regular truck, and then some of the Madawaska people came back and said, no, we need something heavier. So, I mean, we can give them this Chiefs truck and put it in the Madawaska Hall, but it doesn't sound to me like that's the truck, the vehicle that they need. The suggestion to purchase a truck and have it sit in the Madawaska Hall for a couple calls a year while Don uses his personal vehicle, I don't think that makes sense. In that, my opinion is when someone from the township shows up in a township vehicle, there's a different tone set, you know, showing up. I say that about our building official all the time. I want him to be in a red truck when he shows up to see people. So I think that's part of this as well. So those are just my comments.
I can make one last comment. The truck that seems to be tendered is not the truck that we need in Madawaska. I don't know who prepared the tender, who put it out, or who recommended it, but I'm in total agreement with Don on the requirement for a 3/4 ton 4-wheel drive truck. I don't think the truck that you've tendered for is even 4-wheel drive from what I've seen, but I agree with Don on what the need is in Madawaska.
Okay, very good. Any last comments, Don?
Well, it is a 4-wheel drive truck that we've tendered for. The only difference is, as far as what you're referring to, it isn't the higher weight class. And that is because if I'm using it to go do inspections and whatnot, I don't need a great big truck. But the second part is I planned for it to replace that Rescue in Whitney that isn't carrying any equipment. So that's why the tender is what it is. It was in an effort to reduce the cost of the vehicle and still meet the needs that the fire department requires.
Well, you're saying it doesn't carry any equipment, but my understanding is that it carries quite an amount of hose and portable pump.
The Whitney truck?
Yes, 502.
No, it has next to nothing on it, actually. I checked before I made that recommendation. I wanted to make sure that I was, not just saying, I want this truck because I want this truck.
No,
I made this recommendation because, that truck that's sitting there isn't carrying any equipment, and the equipment that it is carrying can be moved on to another piece of apparatus.
Okay, well, I haven't seen it for a while. I haven't looked at it for a while, but it used to carry a portable pump and the hose associated with the portable pump.
And it may have, but it no longer does.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
I'd just like to make a couple comments, Jane.
Okay.
I see that Don's got a pretty good handle on the vehicles we need. Once they are confirmed, both the one for Madawaska and the one for Whitney, is it going to cause any budgetary problems if we purchase them both this year?
Holly, did you want to comment on that?
Well, we have money in reserve. We could do that. We could also, interest rates are super low right now, so we could also finance one or the other. As I suggested, Councillor Florent called me about this and we had a conversation, and you know what, I understand that that money that we've been flipping in and out of reserve has some symbolic representation to that former hall. To me, municipal money is what it is. It's a budget item. So like I said, we have equipment reserve. We bought the SCBA 2 years ago now. We committed to putting $20,000 in reserve every year since, and we have done that. So I think we have enough money in that reserve if that's what council decides to do. We could also, as Councillor Florent has suggested, put it in the 2021 budget. That's the direction that we're looking for council to give us.
Okay.
Mayor Richard here. If I may, I believe when we did discuss it, it was a truck that Madawaska believed that they needed. When we agreed to put the money from our agreement in Algonquin Park, it was to go towards equipment for the fire department. So possibly there is money there, unless the money that we're using for this other recommended truck that Don's referring to. But I believe that that agreement may be in effect long enough to cover 2 or close to it. Regarding optics and the fire hall, I may be wrong, Joe, but I thought when we disposed of the fire hall, we talked about putting the money there actually into the building, which assisted the fire department. But we put the money in, I thought, towards having a generator, which would make it a qualified emergency center. But I could be wrong. But I did I believe there was some discussion regarding that. But like I said, maybe I forgot.
I think if I may, thank you, Councillor Shala. I think we have direction to staff, and I think that we should have that come forward as a resolution to the table at our July. I would say it's the second Wednesday in July. And we could look at the option of getting both vehicles this year. What do you think of that, Holly, to bring that forward at the council meeting?
Yeah, I mean, so I'll be honest with you, as you all know, our deputy treasurer is on 6 weeks leave. So as far as options, they'll be pretty rudimentary. We can either finance it or we can pull money out of reserves. If Jen was here, she would probably do a more thorough investigation of interest rates and those kind of things, but we can definitely provide a resolution at the council meeting in 2 weeks to purchase both this year. And actually, we don't need to include the current one because the one that's tendered right now is in the current budget. So unless a member of council tells me right now to stop that tender, we're just going to go forward with that as it is, and it will come to council for approval once the tender is closed and we know the vehicle. And so the resolution that will come will be to purchase a second vehicle, which will be a Super Duty or a 3/4 ton for the Madawaska Hall. I think we'll also recommend some surplus equipment in Madawaska. Am I going too far there, Don? Do you think that there's some surplus?
No.
Okay. So,
No,
so that might be another committee meeting, but we will, so the resolution at this next meeting will be that truck. And then we are going to commit in 2020 to doing a equipment proposal that will be included in the 2021 budget so that we can start to plan and we won't have these in-year discussions going forward. And we knew with hiring Dawn that there was going to be changes this year.
Can I say just a few words there, Jane? I don't recall ever sanctioning a tender for a vehicle to go down to Whitney as a fire chief's truck. Maybe I've forgotten, maybe it was in a council meeting that I couldn't attend, but I don't ever remember council sanctioning a vehicle for that purpose. But I do remember strongly saying that the one for the Madawaska Hall needs to be replaced. That vehicle's been out of action, it's been removed because it was unfit for purpose. And the piece of equipment that they've got now is totally useless, as Councillor Florence said. And from that point of view, I think if we're tendering for anything, I think that tender should be stopped and we should be tendering for one for the Madawaska Hall as priority and the other one coming along secondary. That's my thoughts on it, and I'll say no more.
Thank you very much. I think we've decided we will do both this year. So I think at the end, we will have 2 vehicles. So, all right, we'll leave this and it will go forward to council then. Thank you very much for the reports and for the updating of our services in South Algonquin. We very much appreciated. The next item on the agenda is the Allen Lake fire pumps. And Holly, I think you were going to speak to this. Am I correct?
Actually, it's just a starting of a conversation that Councillor Vermeer has asked us to put on the table. So we're just looking for some input from him on what the request is, and then I guess we'll look to council to give staff direction regarding a report. So
the request came from the Lake Association for me to approach the committee to have our fire chief open up talks in regards to expanding fire services to the area, and to get a report for him to see what he sees as viable, and just to move forward from that. It's preliminary. We just want to know where this can go to increase the fire services in the area, because we feel we are neglected out here, and we're just looking for some greater representation from the fire services out here. Is that agreeable?
Councillor Vermeer, I would request a written request from the Cottage Association. I
Okay.
think that because I think there are people on that lake. I attend the Lake Association meetings, and there are people on the lake that take great pride in their participation in the process of fire suppression on Aylen Lake. So I would like to go into this with a collegial relationship with the members of the Cottage Association on Aylen Lake, so that we all know that we're on the same page. And I respect you for bringing it forward, but I think that, you know, as you're saying, it's coming from the Cottage Association. I would really prefer something in writing from them to bring it forward, so that we can go out together on this venture, if that is the case.
Yep, and that's agreeable. That I don't think that's going to be an issue to get a letter from the ALCA executive. They're the ones who approached me. They're the ones who asked me to bring this forward. And I just think it would be prudent to look at the lack of fire service out here and how we can expand on that. And that will happen through negotiations with the chief and ALCA. So yes, I can bring that forward to them, and they will have a letter drawn up.
Great. Holly?
Can I just ask, is it one and the same, Councilor Romero? Like the people that are maintaining the pumps right now, are they a different group, or is it done by ALCA?
It's done through ALCA.
Okay, great.
Can I provide a little bit of history for the benefit of Joe and Chief Don Kruger?
Yep, absolutely.
Go ahead, Florence.
When I was chief in 2000, we purchased an 18-horse portable Honda pump and a Wajax pump, and enough hose to support both pumps. And they were stored at that bunker that's at the landing, that concrete bunker. And I think some of the ALCA's pumps as well at the same time were stored there, as well as the places around the lake where they are presently stored. And just after I had resigned as chief, I went to the fire hall one day, and there's all our pumps laying on the floor in the fire hall. And the answer that I got was that council of the day decided there was too much liability to have those pumps at Aylen Lake. I disagreed vehemently. I spent a lot of Saturday mornings on the dock at Aylen Lake training the cottagers how to use the portable pumps and that. And I think it was a pretty good system. And actually, there was a resident at the lake who doesn't reside there anymore that looked after all of the pumps. And he had been an ex-volunteer firefighter as well. So we did have a system in place at one time, and it was removed, I think, around 2005. Because I was back on council in 2006. So it was between 2000 and 2006.
I think one of the main concerns is, and it's always been my concern, is the consistency. It was the same issue with the AEDs when I approached council for the township to start taking over the maintenance of the AED that's positioned at Aylen Lake, and that was absorbed as an asset, and that worked out quite well. And I would imagine and hope that these talks, after the letter goes through from the ALCA executive, that we'll get a greater degree of consistency, and that maybe the maintenance can be done on a regular basis, have this scheduled, that maybe the township, again, I'm speaking in maybes, could absorb the assets and look forward to increasing the service.
Fair enough. Any other discussion?
I'm Mayor. I guess you're meeting. It's Richard. I like the idea. I've attended a Cottage Association meeting a number of times. There's been a discussion, I believe, twice over the years of another association, and they have a similar setup. So I'm just wondering if they should be informed that we're going to be looking at this. They may be interested or not interested. I don't know. I can't speak for them. But if they are interested in a similar program of the township maybe maintaining the pump they have. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe it's Station Central on the lake. And but anyway, I'm just wondering if they still have their program. Maybe they haven't, but it's likely been 2 or 3 years since it's been discussed in a association meeting. But I'm just wondering if that is the case, if we should be, and I don't know about any other ward, maybe there are other associations that have a similar program. So maybe we should be just inquiring and then trying to make it all inclusive or whatever.
Don, can I ask you a
Holly?
question, Chief?
If you don't mind,
Could
please.
Could I just ask the
excuse
chief a
me.
question, please?
Well, I'm controlling the meeting here, and Holly wanted to speak first. She had her hand up. Thank you.
It's
Holly,
okay.
go ahead.
Let Don and Councillor Romero go. Mine's just general information to respond to Richard.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask Don if he's familiar with any other similar programs like on the other side of the park or from where he's from.
Actually, no. I'm not familiar with any program like that. I could certainly research it and find out. But at this point, I would have to say no. I'm not familiar with any kind of agreement like that. You know, without further discussion, I can't really give you a good answer. I'm sorry. But I'd certainly be open to discussing it some more.
Great. Thank you.
Holly?
I was just going to suggest, Richard, I think that, you know, I'm a huge proponent of providing service in an equal way. I would suggest that we don't call all the other lake associations and have a conversation with them. Why don't we give Dawn an opportunity to do some research to figure out what other people are doing, let staff create some kind of solution. And when we're doing that, we'll keep in mind that we might have to do this in multiple locations and provide that same service. So we'll go at it from that angle. But I don't want to go out to all the cottagers and say, we're going to do this, or we're thinking about doing this, because as soon as we say we're thinking about it, then it's an expectation. So let's do the research, get our ducks in a row before we start talking to the public about it.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Holly. I agree.
Good. All right. Thank you very much. We don't have anything else on the agenda unless, Holly, there was anything else? No?
I actually do have just one matter that I should have added as an addition to the agenda, and I apologize, I had forgotten. I have a meeting this afternoon with DSAB at the ambulance bay to talk about our relationship with them, and I think it's time that we come up with an agreement. I've been talking to them a long time about the use in that facility. So this is the starting point this morning, and I will brief you guys on that as we go forward, and I'll keep Dawn in the loop. So I just wanted to let you know that that's happening.
That's good to hear, Holly. Very good. All right. Anything else? All right. Then we will agenda. Oh, Councillor Florent?
I don't know if everybody's audio is as bad as mine, but I'm having a terrible time hearing some of the people. Richard's is especially bad.
Yeah, I agree.
One more reason for us to get back to live meetings and forget about this Zoom thing.
I agree with you 100%, Joe.
All right. Thank you for that feedback. So if there wasn't
Mayor, maybe I could just, maybe I was sitting back too far. Is it clear now?
No, it's still static.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm lucky to even be on. I couldn't get on all day yesterday until sometime in, I guess, 6 o'clock this morning. And finally, I was able to, and I was out for a whole day. So they were working out on the lines. I don't know whether it had anything to do with it or not. They changed the pole in front of the house here yesterday. So, or maybe it's just my computer or me.
The computer was especially bad the last time too.
I think it has something to do with your audio, your computer. I don't think it's the internet, because if it was the internet, he'd be glitching. I think it has something to do with his audio and his computer. That's
What's mine like, Tracy?
You're good.
It freezes up every once in a while. Everybody's freezes, it seems.
I don't think anybody's freezes. That must be yours freezing, Councillor Florent.
No, it's just individual councillors. It's not the whole screen. It's just some pictures that freeze. Yours is fairly bad too.
Really? Interesting.
Anyway, all right, we will adjourn this meeting at 9:48. Thank you much, everyone, and enjoy this beautiful summer day that we've got ahead of us. Thank everyone.
You too.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank
Bye.
you.